And we are back, episode 16 of the Unlimited Range podcast. But this time we're on a new platform. We're on Zencaster. I'm Jack. This is my dad, Dean. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. As always, this sponsorship for today's episode, Ghost.
What is
And
that?
we have some good announcements for us. I think we're over on YouTube now, and our latest video has 25 views with 2 subscribers.
25 views. Actually, I think it's 4 subscribers, although 3 of them are incognito, Jack, so I don't know who they are. But shout out to Kelly Kemp, who is my named subscriber, and I'm excited to have you on board, Kelly.
She's the only one that was willing to put her name on the line.
I guess so. I don't know exactly how this works, but I saw Kelly's subscribed, and I'm psyched. So
yeah,
great week coming up. I got a couple of interesting musical things coming up. Carmen, your mom and I are going to see Carmen at the opera tomorrow night. If you see one opera in your life, I highly recommend Carmen as one to consider. It's a great opera. And then Maggie and I and Jenny are going down to Pilgrimage Musical Festival in Franklin for Saturday and Sunday all day. So Chance Pena and Hosier and Dave Matthews and Need to Breathe and a number of other a huge number of acts playing this weekend. So excited about that as well.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be a blast. I haven't done a whole lot of music stuff in the last recent time. I don't remember the last time I've been to a concert. Actually, I did go to a heavy metal concert. That's probably the last one.
Wow. It seems a little off kilter for you.
Yeah, no, it's I just agreed because I got asked, and it's not something I'm into, but it was actually really fun.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I mean, metal. One thing that's really cool about it, the people that are into that, it's they're a very passionate fan base, and so even though it's not really my cup of tea, in terms of the music itself, I kind of went there being like, I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I had more fun than I thought I would for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I've found out about Nashville is you don't have to like necessarily the genre or exactly what's going on, but when you see somebody live, you can really get into. Like, there's some people
You don't have to like what's going on, but
you don't have to like what's going on. But like I saw John Party. I didn't know anything about John Party down at Ryman, and he was awesome. I really loved the show. Again, I still am not sure I know too many John Party songs, but when they're doing it live and you get to interact with them and the fans, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's I wish we had the editing ability to link videos, but it's that classic inside joke video where the lady's at the saying she needs help and she says, "I don't know what's going on."
The library has blocked my password.
The library has blocked my password. Yeah, so it's a good little intro, and we also, from some of our subscribers, our 4 subscribers, we also got a little bit of feedback on some things. Some people said, "Hey, you guys are doing a good job," but they gave us some stuff to kind of work in. So I think we're going to try to work some of those ideas in today. And so I think a good place to probably start out is a recap of our weekly picks. And you are off the schneid. How about that?
All right, hey, great. I was worried there at the end. John Harbaugh was going to put me back, keep me on the schneid. Somehow
for anybody who's a new, unique viewer, tell them, update them with what your pick was last week.
Well, yeah, my pick last week was the Ravens going into Dallas and beating the Cowboys and getting their first win. And if anybody who wasn't watching the game, they were up 28-6 and managed to give up, I don't know, 3 touchdowns or something like that.
And an onside kick, the first successful onside kick.
First onside kick. I tell you, there's not much that kid that's kicking for Dallas can't seem to do anymore, right?
He's lights out.
He had a 65-yarder in that game too, right?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. I mean, that kid's an amazing story. I hate the Cowboys, but man, they found themselves a good kicker. And man, he's a winner of the week, even if the team's a loser.
Yeah, so you got off the schneid. You got a good pick.
And
I ended up going 2-0. I'm going to avoid, at least for a while, picking the Eagles again. But I just really thought it was a good matchup. I took the Eagles as dogs +3 and got the outright win. And I did say too, I didn't take it, but I did say I thought we could win outright. But I liked taking the 3 points. So that's 2-0 for me. And then our big head-to-head pick. We debuted this for week 3. This doesn't count against our total, but we just decided we might take a game each week and that we feel we're on opposite sides of, and that was Lions Cardinals. Lions 3-point favorites, and I end up winning that one as the Lions take it by 7. What do you? How do you feel?
Arizona just couldn't put anything together offensively really, and Detroit's got a great defense, so they played really well. So I was surprised. I thought they left the door open a couple times for the Cardinals, and they just couldn't. Cardinals couldn't do it.
Yeah, and actually, one thing I want to get to here quickly before we go any further, I did kind of skip over your spotlight of the week, your time to shine. So we have Dean's trivia question of the week coming up here, where you're going to give a trivia question, and we have to have people stay to the end of the episode, so that way they can get the answer at the end. So do you want to give them? You want to give our viewers that little treat?
I do. Yeah, I do. It's interesting. One of the, I think, great performances of the week was Jayden Daniels for the Commanders, and he set the rookie record for completion percentage in a game, 91% or something like that. So the trivia question for this week is, what rookie quarterback holds the completion percentage mark for the entire season?
Interesting.
Entire season. So
Do you think this is tough enough that you should give a hint, or are you going to go hintless here?
It's somebody. Let's put it this way: somebody's still playing. Maybe that's a little bit enough of a hint. It's not. You're not going to go back to the 70s or 80s. It's somebody that's still playing.
Still playing. Okay, so if you're viewing here now, stew on that one for a minute. When we get to the end of the episode, we'll kind of give you the answer to that one. So don't go to Google. Don't just go to Google now. Sit tight. Hang out with the Unlimited Range podcast for the next 25 minutes or so, and then we'll give you the answer at the end of the episode.
So I do have a question for you about Jayden Daniels, and I know you played a lot of basketball. I mean, I played enough basketball. We call this Unlimited Range because sometimes you're just feeling it, and you can just chuck it in from anywhere, right?
Can I say something real quick?
Please.
And then you can ask your question. This randomly occurred to me. I was having trouble sleeping last night, and I don't know why this thought occurred to me. Maybe because I knew we were going to do this today. I know we talked a little bit about Unlimited Range on the podcast, but it seems like because we're new to YouTube and we got this new platform thing we're trying out, and we're going the extra mile. I thought I wanted to make a quick disclaimer. Unlimited range does mean you can go, you got extended range, you can kind of hit anything, whatever. But I wanted to be clear that you are actually unlimited range.
Yes.
I wanted to be clear that the genesis of unlimited range is that it's your nickname, self-appointed nickname. You called yourself unlimited range.
Sometimes you're just feeling it. You're on the driveway and you're going to shoot from 30 and you're going to nail it, and you're feeling like I've got unlimited range.
And then when you have enough unlimited range, you just become unlimited range.
You just become unlimited range. When you do it enough times in a row, you can just be. I'm not only just I have it today. I've just got it all the time.
It's just an attribute at this point.
It's an attribute.
I just didn't think we talked about it once. We talked about it once, and I didn't think we clarified it.
Yeah, I mean, well, as much as you can ever clarify, that concept, I think you're good. But I was thinking that Jayden Daniels was in the unlimited range zone on Monday night watching that game. That last pass he made to McLaurin, wow, like that was guy in his face. He threw it 40 yards on a dime to the corner of the end zone. So I don't know what to expect from him the rest of the year. I can't imagine he lives up to that game, but if he does, half of that, I think the Redskins or Commanders are going to be happy.
Yeah. And that kind of ties in nicely with, I kind of made a little quick list of who I thought some of the winners, losers of the week were. And his name was immediately the first one that comes to mind because, he obviously was very impressive at LSU. But I think he kind of somehow went a little bit under the radar. I think as far as expectations, a lot of the hype was around Caleb Williams and some of the other guys at the top of the draft. And I mean, he certainly got his share of attention. Um, but I can say honestly, I didn't. I'm not sure I was buying it, um, especially going to Washington. And then I know the Bengals defense has struggled for sure, but I've watched a good amount of him over the first 3 weeks, and the other extremely impressive thing I think is he hasn't had a turnover for 2 weeks. So it's the efficiency. I think it's like I think what's surprising is you kind of expected the athleticism and you expected some of the creativity and those types of things, but the ability to take care of the ball and be very efficient. And like you said, only incomplete one pass. I think some of that can be attributed to the Bengals defense for sure. We have a Bengals fan in the household, so unfortunately, I've caught every second of every Bengals game. And that defense hasn't looked good. But at the same time, you can't nitpick those types of results. So I think he's a big winner from this week.
Yeah, I think I think the interesting thing about it, and I didn't watch the game, that from that angle that of like what Washington was calling on offense, but I really thought they did a good job of calling the right plays for him and getting the ball out to certain people, and he didn't make bad throws, and they put him in positions to win. I mean, that first bomb to McLaurin is. I think they had max protect. I think they had 8 guys, in to protect, and it was like a 2-man route, and that was his, throwaway. Was to McLaurin, and he made it. And so, when you see these guys, putting 4 guys out wide on a rookie quarterback and getting zero blitzed and getting their head taken off, Washington wasn't doing that. Like, and the Bengals weren't. I think the Bengals needed to get him off his mark, because then the more success he had, you could see his confidence just growing as you watch the game.
Yeah, it was
It was
impressive, and
pretty
I think
amazing.
that
It was the best performance I've seen by a rookie quarterback in a long time.
well, that last throw that he made to McLaurin, I don't think you're terribly surprised if a established, elite veteran quarterback makes that throw against the blitz, but you know, that's a really impressive throw for a young rookie quarterback to
Absolutely,
make. That's
absolutely.
that's something because I mean I think it's a common thing in the NFL that like what do you do against rookie quarterbacks? You just heat them up because they're just
Yeah,
not used to the speed. They're not used to the different looks, the way that NFL defenses come at you from exotic angles and things like that. So we've seen certain guys who I still think are going to be good, Caleb Williams and some of these other guys, really struggle with some of that this year. And for him to just in that moment, because I mean, uh, I can't exactly remember. I just know that if he missed that throw and they took the field goal, the Bengals had a chance. I think it was, I forget the score of the game at that point, but I know if they had to take the
yeah.
field
No,
goal,
it would have been an 8-point game.
well, I think it would have been an
So
8-point game. So yeah, the Bengals would have had a shot, and he just stepped right in there and made that throw. So that was impressive. And then I wanted to close out the rest of my list here.
yeah,
Get your thoughts. I think definitely a winner from week 3. Already been a winner, but continues to be a winner. Sam Darnold. That's and I kind of got. I've been a Darnold defender, I think for a while. But it's not something the last couple years that you're going to necessarily be super vocal about the way it's gone. But
right.
I think it's I think the Darnold thing is extremely interesting to me because I think that um it's a and I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, of course, but I think the way we've gone in recent years with some of this expedited uh development on some of these guys and thinking everybody can just come in and play in a losing situation. I think this is a perfect example. I mean, they go in there and they beat the 49ers handedly, and then they go to take down the Texans, two really good teams, and he looked great doing it. I think situation is just extremely important in these things, and I even heard a quote that I think it was Belichick said it after this week, where he said, like, front offices and people in general manager positions, coaching positions have always thought he was a really good quarterback and maintained that he's a good quarterback. He just needed the right fit.
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that, I agree with you. And on the flip side of that, I mean, it makes you look at like what are they going to do with Bryce Young now that Andy
Right.
Dalton came in, the Red Rifle, comes in and lights up um, the Las Vegas Raiders, makes them look really bad. And I do think that one of the games I'm looking at this week is what Cincinnati going to do traveling to Carolina. But what are you doing with Bryce Young? Because Andy Dalton showed that it's not exactly the quarterback that's the only problem here. I shouldn't say it that way. The rest of the team might have some good things going on if they find the right quarterback, I guess is what I really should say. And, I watched a little bit of that game, and I mean, they hit the gas and never let up. And it
I
was
think my
impressive.
thing with these conversations, and I fully agree. I mean, you cannot argue with the results on the field. You simply can't. Darnold or Dalton comes in, and they put up more yardage. I think in the first half, or he threw for more yardage in the first half than Bryce Young
Bryce Young
did
did in two
through
games.
2 games. Um, and so you can't argue with that side of it. I think the part I get frustrated by, and maybe it's because I'm closer in age to some of these guys, is that I'm not arguing that Bryce Young has looked good because he hasn't. I think sitting him down was the best thing for his career, and it was the best thing for the Panthers. Um, but one thing I just don't see a lot of people talking about is, you know, coming in at 22 years old, being thrown into a situation where you're supposed to start day one, and you have all this pressure on you, and it's different than coming in the fifth round, sixth round, and you're not going to play. Um, that's extreme. That can be extremely challenging. And I'm not a quarterback guru. I'm not an expert. I can't break down the film. So he might simply just not be good enough. But I think the problem I see is that we're so willing to call these guys, terrible. But I think confidence comes in a huge way. I think, like, you see some of these guys, like Darnold, in some of his spot starts at other places after he got bounced from the Jets, really didn't look like a great quarterback. And then he goes and sits at a couple different spots on a couple different teams, one of them being the 49ers. And I think you kind of start to rebuild that confidence. And then he comes out for the Vikings, and he looks like the Sam Darnold everybody thought he would look like initially. I also think it's okay to say certain guys are just different in that way. Some guys are just better at handling the criticism. Some guys are just, um, you know, can just kind of let that stuff roll off, and that stuff doesn't bother them, and their confidence doesn't waver as much. But when I see Bryce Young, it looks like a guy who is completely zapped of any confidence he may have. And at the quarterback position, that's an absolute death sentence. So I'm not saying that he's not a bust. I'm just saying that, I think you have to be extremely wary when you just say we're going to take a quarterback, even though our team sucks, and he's going to turn it all around. Because the mental side of the game matters significantly with the guy you're drafting. If it's not a guy that can handle, getting his ass kicked for 2 straight years and losing a bunch of games and all this other stuff, and that's going to really affect him, I think you have to rethink that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the interesting thing about if you're going to be an NFL GM is you're kind of drafting this guy to potentially be your quarterback for 15 years.
Right.
It's one of the few positions on a team that you're going to get maybe double digit years into, and you're rushing that person out onto the field, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. We've seen Baker Mayfield go through a couple situations,
And
and
he looks
he's looking
great.
really good, and he looks good in Tampa Bay. Geno Smith went through a lot. The Jets are clearly a terrible place to start your career as
Right.
a maybe New York City in general is a terrible place to start a career
Well,
as a
think about what
quarterback.
you're asking. Think about what you're asking this person to do. Put yourself in the shoes. You're asking a 21 or 22-year-old that's obviously being drafted to a situation where, at the very least, they didn't win a lot the year before. And in a lot of times, it's a team that's serially at the top of the draft, like you mentioned with the Jets or, the Panthers in recent years and things like that. It's rarely a team that traded up that high or just had one down year. So typically, it's a team that is a bottom third of the league team year in year out, which probably doesn't have a good foundation, good management, that sort of thing. Might be recycling coaches. I mean, you see some of these guys, man, like they bring it up all the time. Like some of these guys, it's like, oh, this guy's been here around for 4 years and he's had 4 offensive coordinators. It's like,
Right.
you know, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Some of these guys may actually be bad, but sometimes it may simply just be a terrible situation. And then, the confidence just never grows. And you kind of wind up, and then you see these guys like Baker Mayfield finally in a good situation, and he looks like a real guy. So I just think I don't, there's not nuance on the internet. It's not why you get on the internet, but sometimes it frustrates me when I see some of that stuff. But pivoting back to last one I'll do, I think I got two losers. I'm curious to get your take on. Um, I definitely think the Dolphins look like losers. You've got Tua, who's had these injury problems for the last several years. He's had at least 3 to 4 concussions. How do you not have a backup quarterback that feels comfortable like an Andy Dalton? How do you not have a guy who can step in that situation? And you're going to a guy who clearly can't run the offense. And then we're both Doug Peterson fans, but that's starting to get nasty.
The Jaguars look terrible. I've gone back and forth on Trevor Lawrence. Again, I think another one of these anointed guys can't miss pro, and I don't know if he's not taking the coaching. I have to think he's getting good coaching. And Press Taylor, who's the offensive coordinator down there for Doug Peterson, both those guys, no quarterback play, have built multiple quarterbacks up. I don't know if he's not taking the coaching or not, but he looks terrible. I mean, he looks as bad as Bryce Young.
I thought you were going to say our other boy, because there's a circulating graphic that he just dropped below Daniel Jones in quarterback rating, and and they compared the stats, and it's pretty comparable, the statistics.
Right. So the Jags look completely lost, and I have a feeling that they're going to let go of Peterson. I don't know what else they do because you can't fire the whole team. And I don't know what
can't fire the team.
You can't. I mean, I don't know what the Jaguars look lost. Travis Kelce looks lost. The Dolphins look like an absolute train wreck. I mean, you've got the Bengals at 0-3, the Jags at 0-3, the Titans at 0-3. I mean, the Titans lost last week to the quarterback that they just drafted the year before and gave up on. And that looks crazy now. And they're getting Jordan Love back. And there's a big game coming up, this week, Packers Vikings. I don't have that on my list, but
let's roll into the list. Let's roll into our list for this week's picks, and then we'll find a head-to-head matchup that we like. Maybe we're on the other side of. So, I think I'm going to. Now I'm going to preface this. I don't love the team. They had a decent performance last week. I don't love the team. I feel like the number looks good. So Broncos Jets is a 7.5 point spread. I think I like the Denver defense enough, and I still have enough questions about the Jets, just all the way around, to say that I think that's just a little bit too much, especially if Bo Nix has really turned a corner, which I don't love putting my faith in Bo Nix. But I do think he looked a lot better Sunday than he did the first 2 weeks. So I think if he can cut the turnovers down and be efficient like he was, I think 7.5 is just too much. So I'm going to take. You can book it. I'm going to take the Broncos plus 7.5 against the Jets.
The Broncos plus 7.5. The other game that's a 7.5 point spread that I saw on my list is Kansas City at the Chargers. I'm between that game and the Cowboys at the Giants, because the Cowboys are giving up 6 points traveling to New York, and I just don't see that making a lot of sense. But since you're going with a 7.5 point game, I'm going to go with a 7.5 point game, and I'm going to take the Chargers plus 7.5 at home, which I know they don't have a very good home field advantage, so it's probably going to be more Kansas City fans than Chargers fans. But I think they're mad about Derwin James getting suspended for this game. I would be if I'm a Charger, coach, and you can't tell me Jim Harbaugh is not wearing his team out about that, and where some of these last couple seasons have gone. And so let's see what Jim Harbaugh's got in his tank. I'm going to go. I'm take the Chargers plus 7.5.
Well, I'm cool with that because I still haven't forgot about my preseason bet I made with you and Maggie, where you guys have to buy me dinner if the Chargers exceed their preseason futures win total. Because I told you, I said I think they're going to look good this year. I think they're going to surpass that number. You and Maggie were off board. You said it's just same old Chargers. So I'm
I
not
don't
going to
know.
let
So
you forget.
what was the win total? Do you remember?
I believe it was 8.5. So I think they got to win 9 games.
They got to win 9 games.
If I'm
I don't know if they're going to
wrong,
win this. I don't know if they're going to win this game, but I do feel like 7.5 is a big number for the Chiefs to cover. And did you see Travis Kelce in that game against the Atlanta game?
well, I'm telling you, yeah, I did, and I gotta say, the one thing that is absolutely eating me up right now is that I made the mistake. I made the mistake a few years back, and it's always haunted me. I took. No one wanted to draft Le'Veon Bell because of the issues, and I said I think I got him like he would have been a first round pick at that time when he was coming off his best season with the Steelers and he was in the contract holdout. And he, he slip in. And I was like, okay, the upside here is too much. I'm just going to take him and, maybe he'll sit out a couple games like everyone does and he'll come back or whatever. Didn't play the entire year, cost me the season. So, from that point forward, I said, I'm not doing the guys with injuries that are supposed to come back, and I'm not doing guys with whatever off the field stuff, whatever. And I just kept reading. Rashee Rice is going to get suspended. So he was sitting there, I think like 5th, 6th round. And I knew if he played, because I watch all the games. I knew he was starting to become like a super featured target and one of Patrick Mahomes' favorite guys to throw to. And I wanted to take him so bad. And I just said to myself, like, no, because he might get whatever. And now he's just lighting it up. And if I had Rashee Rice on my fantasy team right now, I'd be cruising for a bruising. But instead, I'm playing Lad McConkey in the flex spot. So,
Ooh,
yeah, it's rough. It's rough. So that
it's a
kind of
little bit
stings.
different.
But yeah, I think
Oh,
I
I
think I said to you too, though. I think I'm not sure he's washed. I think teams still play him the same way that they've always played him and have yet to kind of adjust. And I think that leaves guys like Rashee Rice and even Xavier Worthy and some of these other guys gives them room to make plays. And I don't know if that'll change. I don't even know if that's true, but I think it's a little early. But yeah, he does look like he might have lost a step.
Well, I just think he looks like he lost the fire. Like I think he's got fire for other things at this point, clearly. And so,
Well, he's older
I
than I think we think he is.
yeah, he's what 33 or something like that.
33,
Anyway,
34.
so let's go back to the picks. So you've got the Broncos. I am taking the Chargers. On my list, I've got a couple of games. I don't know which side of the aisle you fall. Like if it's Dallas and the Giants, who would you take on that one?
Dallas and the Giants. I have that as a 5.5. Where I think this is the opening, so they move a little bit. I have the opening line as Dallas minus 5.5. I don't love either side of that one, but if I was going to choose, I'd take the Cowboys there.
So I'm thinking the Giants, are going to play them tight. I had -6, so I don't know if -5 and -6. We could use that as the head-to-head of the week if you want.
Well, let's call it 6, and we can make that the head-to-head of the week because I think for the same reasons you were talking about earlier, I think if the Cowboys don't come out, guns blazing, after this really sluggish start, I think we'll know everything we need to know about them. I do think they have their issues, but the star power there that they have on offense and things of that nature, they should be able to. They should be able to get it done. I know the Giants won on Sunday, but I still think they've got quite a lot of work to do. So I think I don't love it, but I would take I'll take the Cowboys -6.
So if you are looking at 3-0 teams, there's 5 undefeated teams: Chiefs, Vikings, Bills, Steelers, Seahawks. Which of those do you expect to stay undefeated, or which ones do you think is the weakest of those 5
Well,
teams?
you know, I reserve the right to be wrong. I don't think that highly of the Seahawks. Um, I think they're a decent team, nothing more. Um, I haven't been super impressed with anything that they've done. I have to say, I think the Chiefs look like they're just going to continue to be a powerhouse, but the Bills are the ones that's really surprised me. And Josh Allen, um, I think he's extremely impressive, and I find it humorous how many he seems to be like the one guy that he's that people just try to pick at because he's never like he's this era's like whoever the guy like LeBron James before he won. Like we're just gonna try to find everything about this guy that we don't like, and this it's just watching him when he's really in that flow is crazy. I just think he can get to a point where he's just unstoppable. I mean, the ability to run the way that he does, and as physical as he is, and I mean, watching that Jags game, the Jags didn't look good, but man, he was just beating them into submission. 250 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah, we'll find out a lot this week. The Vikings have to go to Green Bay. The Bills going to Baltimore, and Seahawks going to Detroit. And so I agree with you. I think the Seahawks are the worst of those 5 teams. They've had a really fortunate draw on schedule, especially with the Dolphins showing up minus Tua and plus Skylar
Right.
Thompson. I think it's we'll find out a lot this week. I don't know who the Steelers have. I went into the draft saying if I'm the Bears, I'm sticking with Justin Fields. I draft that tackle that the Chargers drafted, and I line up either Brock Bowers or Rome Odunze or whoever was going to be left at the wide receiver position, and I would have rolled with that. It'll be interesting to see how that continues to play itself out because Justin Fields is a really good Steelers quarterback, and
Yeah,
reminds me
here's the thing. I think I think you nailed it there. I think he's perfect for what they need. I think a running team, a team with a great defense. Um, if he can continue to be efficient and just kind of keep the chains moving on that offense and make some big plays with his legs and do the right thing, I think he found himself in a really good situation. Um, all right, let's pivot to our trivia question of the week here. Give us the question one more time.
Yeah, the question again is Jaden Daniels set the rookie record for completion percentage in a game. Who holds the record for completion percentage for a season by a rookie?
And it's a
Completion
current player, so I'm going to say there's a couple guys that jump out to me, but I think I'm going to go. I might think it's Tua.
It is not Tua. It is not Tua. It was the answer is Dak Prescott.
Dakota Prescott, huh?
Dakota Prescott. He holds the rookie record. If you go searching around, you might see the guy that played for the Bengals last year, Jake Browning, but he only played half a season and he'd been floating around the league for 4 years. So it's really I don't know how they have him in somewhat considered a rookie, but the rookie that holds the record is Dakota, and it's about 68%. So I
That's
think
pretty good.
we'll see where Jaden. He had a really super efficient rookie season, and
Yeah, no, he was good. I mean, he was perfect for him at the time. I want to say I think that's a good level of question. I think that's a perfect, you found the perfect range there, the unlimited range with that question, because I think
No, good. You know,
it's just hard enough, but it's not. It's it's also not too easy.
not impossible. It wasn't impossible.
Yeah,
So
that's what we're going
people
for.
may have come across your news feed as somewhere that I think he actually broke. Jaden broke Dak's record for a game too. I think the record he broke was Dak's.
So the Unlimited Range podcast is definitely high on Jaden Daniels early, even though he's a commander. And some other good takes from week 3 of the NFL season. So we have our picks for this week, and we have our head-to-head picks. So keep an eye out for those coming up in week 4. And do you have anything else before we send them off?
No, I mean, if anybody's got some feedback about what this Zencaster, image is going to look like once it hits YouTube, love to hear it. We're looking to, break over the 25 view, so maybe go for 30. I think our next maybe threshold is
we're going to keep trying to level up. So we hit 15,
30.
25. We're going for 30. We got 4
Hopefully
subscribers. Yeah,
let's try to pull Maggie in for a guest spot. Maybe we'll have a guest spot.
Yeah, keep an eye out for a potential guest spot down the line. We got some people who are interested in coming on, maybe a question and answer type thing. And now that we are on YouTube, I can say if you do watch these videos, and feel free to leave a comment. Hopefully not a hate comment, but if that's what you want to do, feel free. But yeah, leave a comment if there's any critiques or anything you want to see more of or anything like that. And we don't have many comments or any, so we'll probably get to it, I would say.
I got a great comment from my friend Scott. Sent me a text message to maybe expand out a little bit beyond the Eagles. Hopefully we did that this time, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, we're big feedback guys. So if you give us feedback, we'll try to do our best with it. And so this was episode 16 of the Unlimited Range podcast on Zencastr this time. And like and subscribe to the YouTube channel Unlimited Range. And we will catch you guys here next week.
Sounds great, Jack. Have a great week.
All right.